Yeah.
Dan's coming.
Hello, hello. All right, we got it. I was talking over music. I'm not that good of a singer, so that's probably pretty good.
Let me intro you. So Chase was going to try to make me start, and the reason why I was making him start is we really do have him to thank for being here. A long time ago, he started a variety of things, and you got to be kind of a different kind of leader to do what he did. I'd say this for everybody. I mean, if you're the smartest person in your group, you're wrong. And he really just surrounds himself with people that just, make me feel really, really stupid. So I'm humbled and blessed to be, to be able to be with him and work on the crypto watch with him and work on a variety of other things. But I wanted him to really, kind of kick this off and talk about it because, it was kind of his brainchild and his, just incredible work ethic and drive to build something, not just that's valuable, but more importantly, that has sustaining value. And it's important for you in the audience now because there's so many things that we're doing and so many things that we're involved in that are actually truly trying to help people out. And it's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so, in this space, there's a lot of noise. I mean, whether it's, Reddit or media outlets or, fly-by-night organizations, there's a lot of people trying to scam you. And quite frankly, we're not asking a lot. We're asking you to just, be present, be involved, be inquisitive. And, there's an avenue to get involved with us that actually doesn't cost you anything. There are people that actually do, want to be involved at different levels of things that we provide. But for the most part, we just want to curate really smart people that are really curious and excited about emerging industry and possibly be really well positioned to do a lot of great things together going forward. So when we talk about the Crypto Watch as a family, we truly mean it. And so, I give all the credit in the world to Chase and what he's done. And so, really want him to kind of talk about, what made him get the Crypto Watch going and where he sees it going, from here, and I'm going to listen.
He blew me up way better than I am. I'm a glorified janitor. No, honestly, so my partner Zack and I, we came from the tech arena. We've just done, we were very, very successful in that space. And I grew up poor. Most of my childhood and young adult life was locked up in prison for various of nefarious things that young poor kids get themselves into. But what I've learned is the psychology behind human interactions is actually a beautiful thing. And when people learn to harness it and focus it, the output is extraordinary. So in my journey, my partners and I have noticed a ton of misinformation. A lot of things are being told to people who they don't meet, they see on a computer screen, and it's for their better good and not the other person. And I truly believe in any business deal that both parties should make some sort of agreement where they don't get exactly what they want, but they make an agreement that they're both happy with. So we founded it actually started with the stock watch because I got into the tech space and I was a little bored. We beat that arena. And I was starting to retire, and my business partner's like, we need to find a new challenge. So I said, you know what, let's try the securities market. This is the alpha humans of the world. They're the best of the best at being incredibly focused and hyper intelligent. So I said, let's take our hands in that. Battled, I was able to survive in the beginning and then prosper. And I realized that it wasn't necessarily my business tactics that allowed me to prosper, it was my personal ones. Pretty weird, right? You'd think like, okay, you understand business, but it's personal. So what I mean by that is I'm a curator of focus. Who here has been in a car accident? Or lost a family member or a pet? Okay, these are distractions in life, and some of them have higher emotional pulls on you and some of them have less. The problem is they take you away from your objective. I've learned to live in a very finite environment where I focus on exactly what I want and I use that as fuel. These challenges are my petroleum to greatness. And what we try to do is educate people on that same thesis, understanding that it's probably your human emotions that are causing you an issue. As my partner just spoke, people raised their hands. Who here bought in on hype? So that's an emotional play. We're trying to educate you while I'm still benefiting on people being idiotic. And I'm not happy with that. I'm a capitalist who makes a lot of money doing it, but I much prefer to build a much better environment that's much more long-lasting that we can all thrive together in. So the Watchers was literally born because we wanted to discredit a lot of people telling a lot of fairy tales or pitching something that helps just themselves. And Essentially, that's the basis of it. And it all started with this ICO craze. Who here watched ICOs last year just go fucking insane? Right. Okay, so here we've got our other partner right here, Dan Fleischman, the man of the hour. But what the thesis was is people thought they were buying something because they heard about someone getting an amazing deal. And the way I see it is, did you own equity? Did you get some preferred deal? No, you're a retail investor who was sold a story and you believed it because somewhere that emotional tug it took on you. And I'm trying to teach, and our family's trying to teach, that those emotions are the death of you. As he says, the rule of threes, I believe in the rule of threes in the backside of everything. I believe when you push someone once, they second guess themselves. When you push them again, they go to their peers to find out if their first thesis of being wrong is correct. And if you push them one more time, they break. I'm not the only person who knows this thesis, I promise you. It's known by almost every securities trader and equities trader and commodities trader on the planet. It's how they make so much money. So our group was purely built to educate the masses, and now people are saying, hey, well, you sell a program. Well, sure. We also make tens of millions of dollars a year, so shouldn't my bandwidth be used in the right category? I look at it like this. If you get a free gym membership, how many people, who here has gotten a free gym membership to any gym and never used it? Well, I believe that when it's free and you have no stake in the game, you're much less to kind of push it off. But now when that gym membership kicks over and you're starting to pay, you've got fuel that is pointing you in a direction to do something. So we like to harness that fuel and let people know that's reality. Another really quick thing is people say, oh, I want to invest. I've got $10,000. Obviously, you should follow the rule of threes, but even before that, what's your why? Why are you investing? Why do you want to be here? What's the purpose of what you're doing? And when you figure out that why, find out how to educate yourself so to make sure that the results have the fewest outside variables so that you achieve your goal. So, as my partner said, honestly, we hope that when we are done here and we do this, and I speak again at 4 about a whole bunch of wild stuff, is that you take focus and direction and start blocking this noise out. And when someone says something to you, say, who fucking says? Who says? And ask that question on who's benefiting and why they're telling you something. They have something to gain? Do they have something to give? And that's going to give you a much better place. So I hope you enjoy the time with us. It's going to be fun.
You said, I want to go down the line here, so Ty, Zach, start thinking of something, way smarter than what I'm going to say to keep us going. But, one of the things that, you talk about kind of access, and I think that's the thing that, so a long time ago when I was still doing venture investing, I got, access to a program called the Kaufman Fellows, and it was all about kind of curating people who are going to try to be the next generation of fingers crossed, great venture capitalists. But the people that I was able to surround myself with and just listening to them. I mean, I think what we're doing, whether it's in the public group, which is free, or some of the paid programs that we're doing that span everything from crypto to e-commerce to just pretty much anything you want to do to kind of succeed in life. We're like, hey, yeah, you like that? Let's curate a group around that. Oh, you like art? Let's curate a group around that. And what's happened, and we have a variety of channels to kind of keep people connected because it's really a global community, whether it's on Discord or Telegram or Facebook or our own private site. The conversations, literally, I feel like I'm stealing. Like, I learn so much from everyone else. So I try, it makes me kind of up my game. I try to put out more and more content because I'm like, man, the amount of things that people are coming up with and their thesis around other coins, we could never, if we had a team of 20, 30, 40, 100 employees, we could never keep up with the level of insight that our entire member base brings to the table. So in the public group, I get a lot of great insight. But when I go into like some of our paid groups, like The Brief, the Discord channel that we have is literally next level PhD type stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I've made money off of our members. Like literally, I can't possibly track every single coin, but somebody will say, hey, I noticed this one thing, or I got wind of this one piece of news, or hey, you might want to take a look at this. And sure as hell, that thing ends up, popping off. If anybody followed, Raven Coin lately, our group was talking about that, and it was just a couple people going, hey, this, and this, X, Y, and Z, and it was before anything took off in the market. So we're really curating and almost crowdsourcing very insightful, great experience, a lot of very good technical analysis and fundamental analysis, and bringing it all in one place so that everybody can kind of level up. And the amount of sharing and the community that we've built is really special. So again, whether it's us or you have another group that you really love, tie into that. Really surround yourself with people who are operating at a different level, who make you up your own game, and I guarantee you a couple years from now, you'll be glad you did.
Social circle is so right. I actually want to jump on that real quick too, and I'm going to let them pass down the line, and we're going to tell a little bit about each other. Maybe we should do that first. Yeah. Let people know. Yeah. So obviously, Randall just went. Obviously, I'm Chase Hero. My partner, Zack Folkman, and I, we're all business partners. My partner for 10 years and best friend. We started a tech company about a decade ago. It started out, as he says, at my wedding. Like most successful businesses, we both wanted to fucking kill each other within the first day. But in that time, what we did is we solved a bunch of problems where people told us that no one could solve. And what happened is we realized that when you put the right people in the right places and you back them to the wall, they solve the most amazing problems. And I use it like this. How many people know someone who bought something they couldn't afford? Put your hands up. And then they somehow found a way to figure it out. They figured out a way to solve the money loss. Maybe they got an old table and restored it and sold it on Craigslist. So we're teaching people about resilience and understanding that the precipice, when you're down, when you think there's nothing there, that's when everything's there. You have everything to grow upwards. You know what bottom tastes like. I call it the black diamond method. Who here skis and went down a black diamond your very first time? I did. Right? I want to know how that shit felt. I want to know what the worst thing could happen to me, what it felt like. Because then I knew what to prepare myself for as I went out and realized, hey, I'm not made of glass. I can do this. So, like Randall said, you have to have people around you that bring you up. The world will get you down no matter what. It is so amazing at the distractionary levels that can do this to you. For example, I see people chase success, and I know you see a bunch of diamonds and jewelry up here, and that's a lot of the things I talk about to stay away from. We bought this far after we could afford it. But the thesis is where I'm going here is people chase this desire of what social media has brought. 10 years ago, the most successful person you knew was who CNBC put on TV or who in your local town owned the regional insurance company. So it allowed you to stay more focused. Now there's distractions of like, hey, that kid kind of looks like me, he kind of dresses like me, but he makes 10 times the money. And now people start relating themselves to someone they know nothing about, and we're trying to deflect from that, bring you back to reality so you understand you have the same chance as everyone else the second you realize ultimate focus is key. Remember, I told you in the beginning, I went to prison. I grew up broke. Why am I sitting here and you're not? The idea is my follow-through is extraordinary. I will battle anybody in any business world, and my follow-through and our team's follow-through will beat anyone. I just had a conversation in the bathroom with someone. We made $1 million bet. I'm sure when he loses, he'll run. But nonetheless, I truly believe that. Anybody can walk up to a tee and crank a fucking golf ball. How many people can be honed in on their craft and get it to the hole in the least amount of time? Understanding that rhetoric and being self-aware of the things you're not good at and applying other people's intelligence of where you're not good at is probably one of the best things that you can ever have in your life, is being self-aware. So make sure you're focusing on those things, and I'll pass the mic to Ty.
Awesome.
Anyone?
He makes it so hard to follow up. I'm Cody. I'm basically the in-house technical analysis. I come from the stock market on the option side and transferred it over into cryptocurrency. Just to add to the focus, because this was big last year, and it still is kind of a problem, and a lot of people have a hard time focusing because they have 10 or 15 positions open in different coins. It's hard to it's hard to manage that, and I see that happen a lot. I know you didn't say it yet, but he has a friend where, for example, in the equities market, he only trades Apple, and that's it. He knows the stock like the back of his hand, and that's it. He focuses on one thing, and that's it. Same for me personally, just on the crypto side. Most people, in our groups, they know I only like to focus on Litecoin. Nothing else. I don't care. I focus on one thing, and I just know it very, very well. and I can take advantage of it because I can just see how it reacts to everything that's happening. So you kind of like get very, very familiar with it, and you can focus on that. A lot of people have an issue with focusing because they want 10 or 15 positions hoping that one pops off, and that's the problem. There's hope there. That's emotional. There's no why behind it. It's essentially just trying to hit the lotto. I'll just buy 20 of these and hopefully one works out. Could it work out? Sure. But the odds are not sure, could it happen? Yeah, but like it's not in your favor. You're better off focusing on one, learning everything you possibly can about it, and then take your, educated move into whatever you're trying to get into. So yeah, that's a big thing. I think people lack focus, as you said. People just kind of, it's like the shiny object, right? You see one coin pop off and they want to follow that, and they see another one pop off and they want to follow that. You're too late. You're already late. You're going into where people are selling into. You can't chase, you can't go FOMO. And my presentation actually talks a lot about that in the whole FOMO and emotional, in the hope realm. If you see something popping off, you're already late. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to, grab scraps, and you're already putting yourself in like way more risk and danger than you need to really be. So yeah, that's my start.
I want to compliment Ty even more, because the amount of time he spends, literally he could charge tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people would pay it. You'd be shocked at what people pay for like access to masterminds and people that actually really know something like the back of their hand. And the time he spends with members of both the public group Crypto Watch, the Watcher's Brief, the Watcher's Eye, is special in terms of just what he's delivering in terms of educational content. But what's even more impressive in what I've seen happen over the last year or so is this teach a man to fish type of methodology, where now people are coming back and going, hey Ty, you taught me this, or you pointed out this, and this is how I'm applying it. Is that right? And now it's starting to just kind of build upon itself. And so literally I feel like I'm in the NSA and just looking at all these charts and analysis and crazy things that like I barely can follow it or even understand it. But he's teaching so many members of the Crypto Watch to fish, and now they're providing that value back to others. And Chase will talk about this a lot, and we joke about it. A couple years from now, we're probably not going to be the ones leading the Crypto Watch and teaching it. There'll be all these other people who've taken on leadership positions, be it regionally or even globally, because everyone's chomping at the bit to be a part of this movement. And it's really neat to see people teaching others and helping everybody else kind of come along. And so I commend Ty for teaching a very complicated subject in a very humble way. It's not, let me show you how smart I am and how dumb you are. Let me make sure you fundamentally understand it so that you can then go teach someone else. And that's a very strong differentiator and what makes Ty so special when it comes to technical analysis.
I just want to add to it's like fulfilling when like people like start posting that and like, oh, because of him teaching me this, I get it now. Absolutely. So like when I see that, it's pretty awesome, because you're like, he's following along, he's actually taking the time to do it, and now he gets it. And now he can profit off of that and tell other people. It's like a domino effect, but like in a positive way, which is really what the Watchers are about. You know what I mean? It's like a revolution, but like in a family, starting in like a grassroots family-based kind of thing. And that's like super, super fulfilling as well. So.
Ty also doesn't really leave the office ever, but that might be for other reasons. I don't know.
Is Chase owning him in ping pong?
It's that. There's always so much food in the fridge. I don't know. It seems like more of a party than an office. But yeah, so I'm Zack Folkman. If you didn't see me talk up here just 20 minutes or so ago, quick background. Come from advertising and technology space. Chase right there has been my business partner since, God, I don't even remember. Long time. Lived down in the Virgin Islands and moving to Puerto Rico next year to join the crypto fund.
My name is Dan Fleischman. I'm an angel investor in 29 different companies. My real passion with the whole crypto space is just mass adoption. I installed the very first Bitcoin ATM into a casino in America, and that was half a decade ago. So try explaining to the casino owners, government regulators, what Bitcoin was in 2014. Like, they look at you like you have three heads. And so I've been trying to really as many different opportunities in the crypto space, and I wanted to taste each thing. So before just talking about something, I would actually go invest my own money, time, or energy into it. So we built a Bitcoin mining farm in the Midwest, and I would actually go out there and spend the time and see thousands of machines there and I wanted to really get involved in the space from every different angle, to really see what ways we can take it to get to mass adoption, because until we can all walk into Starbucks and buy a coffee, my mom and my grandma's not going to use it. So as fancy as you get with your exchanges and wallets and things, that she would look at you like you had two heads, right? And I think that we're coming to a point now where technology is catching up with the speed of humans, meaning before, 10 years ago, this thing didn't exist. 10 years ago, if I showed you this, it would look like I had magic in my hand because it was a smartphone. So nowadays, when there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, Google, Pinterest, Uber, Postmates, all the things that we take for granted nowadays, that I can just get a massage from the Soothe app and Postmates will bring me a pizza and an Uber will pick me up. Like, those things we take for granted, we're nowhere near that in crypto yet. Right now, it's rocket science. To my mom, your uncle, your friend in the Midwest, your friend overseas. Like, it's literally rocket science. They have no idea what you're talking about. When they look at an exchange, besides Coinbase, if you look at anything else, it looks like rocket science. And so we're nowhere near what I want, what I care about. It's not about making money for myself. Like, my positions, I don't really change. Me and Randall are kind of similar. I'm not as smart as Ty. I can't do day trading. Like, I'm smart for the long term. I see things like, if I buy Netflix 4 years ago, Netflix is going to go up because people are lazy, right? They're going to watch TV at home. So there's certain coins that I know that people are going to want to use in the long term, and I believe in supply and demand, which is why I believe in Bitcoin so much, since there's a finite amount. I believe in the long term of the space, so I want the space to grow in that sense, from a capitalist perspective. But really, I'm just fascinated by what it does for the world, and I think that's why a lot of you are here and why a lot of people are, why they're getting over 5,000 people at Crypto Invest Summit, is that people really are fascinated by it, and I don't think it's all about the capitalism side. I think it's really about what it can do for the world.
There's a lot of people in crypto who don't care about money and are, more disruptors. And just here to see, like Dan said, what if we did just fix this problem? And I think crypto kind of gives a lot of people who really want to see a change made the ability to make that change. And, if they can make money, cool, they don't necessarily care about it, but some of the projects that are coming out are, life-changing, world-changing, and they're being created by people, we're very capitalist. We're all focused on trading and making money. There's a lot of people out there that are starting these companies that could care less about the financial gains. They just want to see, like Dan said, how this little change or this piece of technology is going to make the world a better place. And I think that there hasn't been too many industries like that where it brings this altruistic kind of ideal. And crypto is definitely one of those places.
Yeah, I want to, something that, Dan said struck a chord, and it's this, we live in this on-demand economy where, I want what I want, and I want it right now, and I want it how I want it. And that doesn't work with great, kind of game-changing innovations. It takes time. Email was a curiosity tinkered around with engineers for a long time before it ever became a commercially relevant product. And a lot of things had to align to make that happen. The same thing is going to happen. Same thing happened with the internet. Same thing's happening with blockchain, and maybe even the thing that wins out in the long run isn't even blockchain at all. Maybe that was the MySpace, and the Facebook is yet to come. It doesn't really matter. This idea of building the infrastructure and the fabric for the dissemination of value and an accurate record of that so it levels the playing field is a massive idea, and it has far-reaching implications across virtually every industry you could possibly imagine. And what's different from the internet and the dot-com era is it's not regionally specific. It's not regionally localized to kind of Silicon Valley, for instance. This is a global movement, and arguably it's being led even by Asia, especially when it comes to consumer adoption. And so for me, I just had an argument not an argument because I love the guy, but I had an argument a little bit on Telegram because there was so Wozniak was here, right? And so everybody's posting selfies of Wozniak, and so some people who think they're smarter than others, kind of were throwing stones at Wozniak and what he did. And I take exception to that because you do need to understand the role that social media plays, or the role that influencers play, or the role that celebrities play, because they're going to help bring this to kind of the mainstream attention span. You need to basically understand how markets grow and how markets build, and it's not doing some deep technical dive into the exact specifics of how machine learning is going to advance blockchain technology for some protocol level, blah, 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 blah. You lost 95% of the population. The road to progress is littered with either really good ideas that never saw the light of day because the entrepreneurs behind them couldn't execute their way out of a cardboard box, or B, a lot of people who had a lot to say and probably could have helped the world, but quite frankly, they're kind of assholes and have no idea how to communicate a thought, and so no one listened to them. So there's this great responsibility. If you know something in your heart of hearts can have an impact on the world, or you know a technology would be great for the world, just sticking your head in the sand and thinking that it will just rise to the top because of its own potential is totally ignorant and naive. You have to understand how the market perceives it, how mom and pop perceive it, how you get it into the hands of folks. Social media is an interesting game, and there's a lot, I always laugh when you see, 300,000 followers and their video has like 100 views or 2 comments. It's like, oh, so you bought those, did you? And so there's little things in terms of understanding, hey, whether it's Wozniak, whether you love him or hate him, or think he was responsible for Apple, or just hitched his wagon to the right company, doesn't really matter. He brings attention to the crypto space. Influencers bring attention to the crypto space. So we got to get the word out. We've got to explain to people why they should be paying attention. Otherwise, this will just be another curiosity that was really good technology that could have really impacted the world in a very meaningful way that never saw the light of day because we didn't onboard the mainstream public well enough in a thoughtful manner that made them feel like this was a comfortable, safe place to be. So that's going to be kind of on everyone here, and that's what we take as a very big responsibility to educating the next generation who may not have the level of understanding or even the ability to understand it. And whether it's bringing a celebrity in, or having paid groups, or really explaining things in ways that people can understand, that's going to be an important role to mainstream adoption.
I want to speak on really quickly influencers. Funny thing about that. People always wondered why influencers became so big. My theory is that I'll never be Brad Pitt, LeBron James. I know that. Obviously, I'm a skinny little boy who can't play basketball for shit. But an influencer, you can relate to them, you can understand them, and some of these influencers have massive power, and it's relatable that I can do that. On that same note, I want people to realize who says what. We want attention to be brought here, but we want the people to listen to the right person. Who bought crypto because a friend or a family member told them to? I'll use you for example. Was your friend and family member some savvy investor, or just hype, made great money, told you to get into it? So that's the biggest problem here. I have this theory with ease of use always causes falsity of value. What I mean by that is Coinbase, love them to death, but they were so easy to put your money into it. It took no time. You could be in your underwear watching The Bachelor and you are now in crypto. And on a credit card. There's a problem with that. Because in this world of tangibility, people believe ease of use is ease of results. They think, I got in easy, shit, this is easy, I'm gonna make a ton of money. Do you think that was done for a purpose? Yes or no? You guys, don't be scared.
Can you repeat it, please?
Do you think that Coinbase was set up so easy for the masses for a purpose? Yes or no?
Sure.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, little man vocal, get it. I believe it. Educated, intense. I love that. I believe it's that way because the founders, who are amazing people, if you follow the PayPal mafia, these guys are like revolutionary, brilliant people. Anderson Horowitz, these guys are no joke. But I believe they did that because they knew it would spark the desire for easy tangibility of growth. I mean, when you set a bank account up, how hard is that, right? You got to sign a paper, you got to talk to a banker. How about if you set up a TD Ameritrade account? You have to call someone. They go through a process with you. Why? Because they want to make sure you know what the fuck you are doing. Here, everybody just wanted to sell a dream. And what destroyed this dream, I personally believe, because I believe Bitcoin should be around 12,500, and it's not. Why? Here's why. Challenge. Human challenge. You go home on Christmas, and Susie bought you a present that she got with profits from crypto. Susie was always the shitty student. Susie was a whack job of the family, and Susie just trumped you. Now your instincts of challenge and primal instincts are like, listen, that's not going down like that. So what do? You try to one-up your cousin Susie or your Aunt Jane, and what happens? You had no predisposition on what they did prior to get there. You just use emotional challenge state. It's like, you ever watch two people get into a bar fight and then the guy who you didn't think was gonna whoop his ass whoops his ass? Because they thought they knew enough about the scenario. They looked at it from a one-eye view and they're like, you know what, I know this, I'm good. And then all of a sudden it turns out to be Bruce Lee and just destroys your life. I want people to realize that, because here's the downside. This panel is one of them. If you're not educated, my partner just told you we're capitalists. So what's that mean? I'm gonna play on the backside of every position you make. You wanna see crypto fail? You mean you really wanna see it fail? Keep purging the everyday retail investor until their bandwidth is burnt out. What's a car that you put shit fuel in for so long? Does the engine running awesome? Or does it putter out and go to its last leg and sit on the side of the road as another nothing? People don't understand about bandwidth. Success is all about bandwidth. Have you been burnt so many times that you're like, fuck this, I'm done? Or are you like, listen, I got good education, I understand what I'm doing, I can wear this out, I can do this. And we want people not to get burned out. I mean, again, I'm a capitalist, and we do very well shorting the backside of a lot of misguided people. But I would love to educate a bunch of people, because that's what builds a revolution. Movements. We created a group called The Eye. We actually have a bunch of our students here today, and people asked us why we called it The Eye. They thought it was some, crazy syndicate. It was called The Eye because I truly believe people don't care about people anymore. They sit behind a digital computer and their connection with them is gone. And we truly believe if you give someone that spark and desire that they deserve to have from another person, you breed amazing results. I'll keep going back to this. I'm not a Nobel laureate. I'm not some Ivy League college grad, but I can promise you that we can fulfill 99% of the stuff we say compared to most for one simple reason, is we treat human beings like human beings, and we realize that everybody goes through shit. Let's just find a way to utilize that noise as fuel and not distractions. And we go through it all at the same time. I also want to speak on charting and trading, as Zach was telling before, and Ty. And this is just kind of a little off the kill because it happened like 10 minutes ago. My partner, who's a very savvy trader, looks back at me and goes, Chase, I'm up 300% on a short right now against the Fangs. What do I do? Kind of gave him that little look, and he sold his things, made a ton of profit in the back room. I want you to have people who stand by you. This is a very educated person. He knew exactly what to do, and he still looked at his brother to say, bro, am I effing this up, or should I do this? And you're there for him. My information I'm giving him doesn't benefit me in any way. I don't make a piece of his trade. What benefits me is my friend now gets to go one more step farther to where he wants, and he doesn't have to question the decision he made. He gets to go to his peer who will give him real information. And I really, really want people to do that. Also, I want you to meet people. Like, this room is proof of it. Look how you all are sitting. Seriously. Scattered in bunches all over. Why not all together? Because communities are like the last thing people care about. Everyone's a lone wolf who knows everything about everything. I want you to realize the person next to you might be the missing key you needed. Being self-aware of what you're capable and what you're not capable of is huge. I can't write copy for shit. I would never spend 5 months writing an ad copy when I can pay someone who's very good at it to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So please learn. If you're here at 4 o'clock, the exercise I'm going to do with you is make you meet those people. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's like, I don't want to. But I promise you, connections and conversions and the impact of people are why we're all sitting here. My business partner and I did decently well before we met each other. Now we spend a small country's GDP every year on Facebook. Why? Because I knew I'm great at starting things and my follow-through on those type of things was horrid. I found Zach, his follow-through is legendary. So we moved to team together, realizing that, hey, I'm gonna give up something, he's gonna give up something, but we both benefit. So I want people to build ecosystems, and if it's not with us, fine. There are tons of educators, tons of leaders, tons of mentors out there. Find the one you coagulate with. Find the one whose information you take in and absorb. Because that's what it's all about. And if it's coming here and sitting this, or if it's going to chase down the person you wanna meet, do it. Never take no for an answer. I have zero problem making myself feel awkward as shit all the time, nosing away. I mean, listen, if you watch me downstairs, I hunted Tim Draper down. I barged my way right in, and not only did I get my picture I wanted, because I love the guy, I think he's a legendary man, we sat there and talked for 15 minutes. He proved to me he's a human being. He's like, what's this on your shirt? Can you tell me about it? And at the end of it, he's like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I love it. And that right there, I have now, my thesis has been a little bit more solidified because I went to someone, I took the access to go out and say, hey, what do you think? Let me bounce this off you. So please, you're in this group, you're in a room with 5,000 other people at this event who all have similar objectives as you. I can promise you the most intel, information, and gains you will get from any of these events is never from what's up here. It's from what's down there. Right? Teamwork is and always will be the way to make the dream work. No human being can crush themselves. I'm just going to say that real.
I just wanted to add on to that, finding a group of people that you kind of, mesh with really well. The biggest thing I think it does for you is accountability. And I say that because, Chase as a, brother and I mean, he is older than me, so like a mentor to me. He keeps me accountable and like keeps me in check when I need it. And if you're just kind of like, again, like a lone wolf status, yeah, you can make things work and it can work out in the end, but I can promise you're 10 times better when you have at least one person there, like kind of pushing you in the right direction if they see you slipping up, because sometimes you can't see like yourself slipping up. You know what I mean? Like it's
well, real friends, and you want real people. Listen, I have no problem telling Ty's a piece of shit when he's being a piece of shit. Period. You need that. You need someone who's gonna push you and give you fuel and drive to grow. But when you make a stupid decision, that's a real friend. They know it's tumultuous for what they're about to tell you, and there's potentially reactionary causality that will come from you being real.
And it just sees from an outside point of view too. Like just because again, sometimes you can't see yourself and what you're doing, but somebody on the outside can. So again, it's just kind of like a group, having somebody accountable that can see it from like an outside eye as well.
Most people cannot see themselves. How many people have a friend or someone they knew in high school that was amazingly good looking, and then all of a sudden 10 years passes and they're super overweight? They don't know it. You look at them and they're like, wait, what do you mean? I look great. Because they are not self-aware of the change that's happening, because every little change that goes on in their brain, something sparks them that's the normality. And so when they add something to it, that's the new normality. When someone else from the outside sees you, they know what your normality is and if you're above it or below it, because they're looking at you objectively. And that's how you should be with your friends. That's how you should be with everybody. When someone's telling you about the best ICO, you should be asking objective questions. Hey, do I get a piece of your company? Hey, who are the founders? Hey, what have you done before? All of these questions, because you need to have them tell you the things that they won't just open up and tell you. You need to know these things. These are the things that mean the most. How many people jumped in a relationship really quickly before they knew someone? Damn, you guys are really, 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 really good. That many people. Just like 8.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it at all. But we've all done that, right? Or a lot of us. And all of a sudden you get to realize the person, you're like, damn, this person sucks. Well, what happened? You dove into a situation or scenario that you really didn't know anything about, the hype or maybe the look of someone or the feel it gave you, made you dive into it. When your logic is what should be key always. in a relationship, in business, in anything. You need to give logic there and put in effort. I had a bathroom conversation with a guy who's like, I want your guys' alerts because they're awesome and they've been crushing so well for so many people, but I don't want to do shit. I looked at him, I'm like, you're at the wrong convention. The Gamblers Anonymous is like 2 buildings down. You have to understand effort is key. Tell your wife after 5 years that you don't want to put any effort anymore, and then you call me back and let me know how that goes. It's the same thing. You guys, relate things to real things in your world. We're all people, mixed bags at best. I've spoken to billionaires, and I've spoken to kids who are eating Tide Packs and snorting condoms. So every one of them's thesis is the same. They all want to be better, but they don't know the direction on how to avoid the noise to get there because they don't want to do the work. They want some shortcut that solves everything. This game of life is like Zelda when you were a kid. And for any of the millennials, you probably know what the hell I'm talking about, but Zelda, yeah, right? It's all of my friends in school played it every single day when they got home. I found the kid who had the hack to get me to level 187. Did I still have to do work? Sure, because at level 187, it was really, really hard. But what did it do? I found the right person with the right information. They allowed me to skip a whole bunch of lines. That's how you become successful. It's time. Augment time. The most successful people in the entire world have realized that to be successful in your world, you slow it down so that everything that you do seems so perfect. So please understand that hard work is part of this. People say, Chase, never make guarantees, especially my lawyer. I'm going to make some. In success, it will be so stressful. It will be so cumbersome. You will doubt everything about you a million times. And if you don't, everyone around you will. But I promise you one thing. The reason most people aren't successful is because they don't have the wherewithal to make it through that. They can't find the inner drive to tell themselves they're worth enough to say, you over there talking shit, you don't pay my bills. Mom, stop. I love you no matter what, but get out of here. You need to focus on you, period. Every single person has a different thesis they're trying to accomplish. So make sure you're focusing and putting in the work. Because if you're not, please meet me in the back and give me all your money because we'll get it eventually. And I don't want that. That's me saying that as a friend and as a foe. You have to be educated and work hard because if you don't, this space, this world is going to eat you up. And if you come at 4, you're going to find out a lot of the talks that I do are about personal shit. Do I trade and have a big fund? Yes. Do we build tons of products and make tens of millions of dollars? All the cool stuff? Yes. But I truly believe if your business life went directly like this, 99% of people would still fail. Why? They don't have the personal wherewithal to understand what success is. It's supposed to be grueling in the beginning so you learn how to handle stress, right? It's supposed to be tough so you know how to handle a challenge. If it's super, super easy and then all of a sudden you're worth $100 million, what kind of debt do you think you have as a person? What kind of asset do you think you are as a human being? Because the real legacy isn't how much money you make and take it from a bunch of people who've made far more money than we ever thought. It solves nothing, except I get to wear newer clothes and drive a nicer car. Your legacy is what matters. What matters to me is how my children perceive their father. And that's why I go so hard every single day, because we're the generational change. If we're not teaching our kids and the youth below us to go 1,000,000% no matter what happens, well, what are we expecting our future to be? We have a world right now where we are allowing kids in college who literally had a craze where they were snorting condoms to make political change. Does that not terrify? Who here is terrified for what hi, there's some real shit. I want you guys to understand that it takes you to make effort for the future. Yes, you can rub it off and go be somewhere else, but nothing will change. So please, I'm a religious man and I believe this one thesis. God gave you a gift, one of them, or your maker, he gave you one. What you do with it is your gift back to your maker. So make sure you give a damn good one, because you got one shot here. And for anybody who's going through it, I don't know how old you are, it goes quick, right? 2018, I thought it was December or January 12th. What month is it now? You see, so please focus, put in the work, and pick brains of people who know what they're talking about, not someone who's just trying to get you into a position to make themselves better. So please, please, please focus, you guys.
I'm going to dovetail off that last part, because you had two things that I want to tie together, and it's, who are you listening to? I can't tell you how much. If you've been in crypto a minute, you've started to hear this kind of OTC thing going on, and it's the most laughable thing I've ever seen. It's a bunch of people chasing lottery tickets. You all of a sudden hear some person on LinkedIn who looks like they're 19 years old and haven't done anything, and they're like, I've got a $1 billion mandate to buy Bitcoin from some magnet in Asia somewhere. Okay, sure. No one's giving you access to $1 billion or $1 billion in Bitcoin. It's all just kind of fake. So that's happening a lot in crypto right now. People who have never sat at any relevant table, had any relevant conversations or any relevant experience, and they're keyboard warriors. They're people who are sitting on mommy or daddy's couch eating Cheetos, and they're projecting themselves to people who don't know any better as if they know something, and it's very dangerous. And so you always got to have to kind of dig beneath the surface. Does this person have the career that would give them access to the information that they're trying to prescribe to you? But kind of a correlation to that I want to make is something Chase said about the worst thing we can do to this market is freak people out and scare people away. And so when I talk a lot at Crypto Watch, I talk a lot about what would whales do, and really I say what would kind of influencers do, what would people who are thinking about this long term do, and there's a lot of indicators that should give you comfort. One, who owns the most patents in blockchain? Bank of America and Goldman Sachs. It's not by accident. This industry is not going anywhere. I think a lot of people are kind of scared to get into the shallow end of the pool, much less the deep end of the pool, because they keep hearing it's a scam, or this isn't going to last, or it's not going to happen. There are so many large corporations that have made bets in this space already. The cat's out of the bag. This thing is not going away. So now what you have to wonder, I have another thing where I like to troll people who think they know what they're talking about. This idea to be like, oh, Bitcoin's going to be 1,000 or 3,000 by the end of the year. No concept of what they're talking about whatsoever. No clue. I will bet you right now. There's a fundamental need to protect this market. And so I guarantee you, even the government's thinking about this. You want to know what a safety valve is? If all of a sudden Bitcoin plummeted to 1,000, that might do irreparable damage to this entire industry. And there are people, masters of the universe, whether it's in finance and government, who absolutely know how to, if you notice, even if you look at Bitcoin as a whole, I mean, it's kind of it's volatile, but there's a certain okay, when it starts to go down, oh, look, there's good news, and it goes back up. And then it goes down, and good news, it goes back up. And you see a lot of this kind of come out, and Ty's forgotten more about technical analysis than I'll ever learn, but I like the fundamental analysis side of it. You want to know what government safety valve is for the price of Bitcoin plummeting and possibly threatening the market? An approved ETF. I guarantee it. I guarantee you see the market start to shudder and absolutely possibly do irreparable damage to consumer confidence that would set us back 2, 3, 4 years. All of a sudden, magically, you'll see an ETF approved, and people will be, woo, back on the right track. And that's, if you're thinking about it Machiavellian, you're thinking about whether it's finance or political, you're thinking this thing has legs and it's going to be an important industry going forward. You can't afford to freak people out and scare everyone else away. There's not like there's a line of bodies where just, loan sharks are just killing every person that's a late payment. No, because that person's never going to pay you then. You don't want to hurt your customer. And so at the end of the day, yes, there are absolutely wizards of finance who are making money in bear markets and bull markets, but they want this industry to thrive and be a much larger industry going forward, multi-trillion-dollar industry. It's going to eclipse what you saw in the dot-com boom. And so as you think about what people are doing right now, they have to move a bunch of money. We're talking, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars into a new asset class. They have to do that over time. They have to do that very responsibly, and they have to do it, as we're trying to onboard regulation and issues around taxation at the same time. And so that's going to take some time. So if you're looking at me, I always tell people, you know when you're no longer new to crypto, when like a bear market kind of excites you. Like when prices are low, I'm like, yes. And then like things start running and I'm like, oh shit, all right, I'll go do something else now. So in like December, I was kind of bored. I'm like, I'm not buying at these prices. What are you, crazy? And so like I love when things kind of go down. And most large financiers or people who are accredited investors, that's what they're looking for too. And so there's ways to play both sides of any market. But as you think about it, if you have to move, I look at like right now, 6,500, how many people last year at 20,000 were like, God, just give me 6,500 again. Please give me another chance. Give me another bite at the apple. Well, life gave you another bite at the apple, and everybody's like, Bitcoin's dead. It's crap. I'm like, what kind of, literally like 10 months ago, people were begging for these prices again. I'm so excited. If you could give me, because we all have day jobs. We all have, things that generate fiat. My only goal for investing in altcoins, my only goal for having, fiat is to buy more Bitcoin. It's literally land. I said this in my pitch this morning. I wish my parents would have bought more land. It's scarcity. And we have a new age land rush now where you can buy land. It's just Bitcoin. And it's not going to go up. Arguably, there's probably 5 to 6 million Bitcoin that will never be seen again. So why not accumulate as much as you can right now at these prices? And so please do not give me a bull market in December. I want this thing to trade at 6,500 stable, but slightly going up for as long as possible, because I'm playing a 5-year, 10-year game. I'm playing, monumental changes and monumental life-defining capital allocation for my family and my generations to come. Not trying to buy a Lambo next month. And all of us kind of could, and a lot of you probably could too. So it's like, have a longer term view on this. Take comfort in the fact that this is not a scam. It's not going anywhere. And we have a lot of very large players and very large corporations that are absolutely 100% behind this. And they're not doing that because they think it's not going to be around a couple years from now.
62 is better.
What's that?
62 is better.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
There's actually really big shorts right now at 6,500 too. I think like 130
I just
million
want to say something. I want to dive a little bit deeper on the scarcity part of it. I don't think people really grasp when he says 5 or 6 million coins are missing. There's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. So earlier when I said the reason I like Bitcoin long term is because I look at things like Netflix, and people are going to do that forever. Amazon, 52% of the global e-commerce market is on Amazon now. Facebook, it's just not going anywhere. There's certain companies that are like that. Bitcoin essentially is like that because it's the granddaddy of them all. People are really slow. The government is really slow. All of us are slow to adapt to these things. And so since people are just now starting to adapt to Bitcoin, even though there's going to be plenty of coins that are being created out there in the other room that are better, faster, stronger, this, that, more magical, Bitcoin will still be the granddaddy for the next 5, 10 years, if not forever. So when you only have 21 million Bitcoin, 4 million of them we know right now are gone forever. People left it in their wallet. People don't know what a wallet was back then. They had it on a laptop. My friend that just walked in had a bunch of Bitcoins and who knows how many. And when those coins are gone, they're gone forever. I know a bank teller who bought Bitcoin and sent it to an Ethereum wallet. Those are gone forever. 4 million of those are gone. But then what people don't think about is, let's say I send Chase 5 grand. I send Zach $1,000. I send him $542. I send Randall $600. During those transactions, if I do it from different wallets, I might have $3.21 left over, $2 left over, $1.50 left over, and I forgot $14 in my other account. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? Except when 9 million people leave an extra $1 here, 42 cents, $2.64, $8, $3. Not to count the people that left $1,000 or $500 in their wallet and they just forgot it, their password or whatever happened. All the little change is going to start adding up where $1, $2, 62 cents, and $3 times millions and millions and millions of people around the world. Well, when there's only 21 million and 4 million are gone, that's 17 million. And you have guys like the Winklevoss brothers and Chamath, and these guys have hundreds of thousands, if not a million plus coins. Like, there's certain characters out there that have hundreds of thousands of coins. The number goes from 21 to 17 to 15 to 13. And you start thinking about all the different people that have large positions. Now you're less than 10 million coins. Well, we're about to hit 8 billion people. 2 billion of them don't count because they're never going to be able to buy a Bitcoin because they just don't have electricity, right? 2 billion are probably never going to buy it because they just don't care. They're the people that are still scared of buying things on the internet. Like, they're just not going to buy stuff. You still have billions of people over the course of time that are going to eventually get into Bitcoin. Now, let's say none of that happens and only this little percent get in. Right now, there's really only 50 or 60 million people that have any crypto at all. So 50 or 60 million people is nothing. In the grand scheme of things, it's actually nothing. So we're
Half the U.S. population.
right. It's a fifth. Yeah. There's 300 million people in America, but we're talking about a global currency. We're talking about a global movement. So if you only have 50 or 60 million people that own it, what happens when you get to 100 million or 200 million or 300 million people? Math happens. Because you have to buy our Bitcoin. I'm not selling you Bitcoin. I didn't sell it at 18,000. I'm not going to sell it at 6,500. So my number's not 20,000. My number's not 22. It's not 34,000. My number's really big, and they have a different number in their heads of when they're finally like, okay, fine, I'm going to sell it. It's too high. But along the way, if Adam, John, Robert, Jessica, and Jennifer try to buy our Bitcoin, we're not selling. So if there's tens of thousands of us, or hundreds of thousands of us, or eventually millions of us that aren't selling, what happens? The price just evolves over time. Because there's just no other way for them to get Bitcoin besides buying it from other humans. The reason the government's so frustrated with Bitcoin is there's no CEO of Bitcoin, there's no office, there's no bank account to seize, they can't kick the doors in, they can't arrest anybody. They just can't do what they're used to if they're scared of something or they don't like something, because I lived it. When I went through the online poker space, I had one of the biggest poker brands in the world, and my competitors had 16 bank accounts seized in foreign countries, even in countries that you couldn't do those things. The government came in and seized billions of dollars that wasn't even the poker site's money, it was the players' money. And then for 4 years, those players didn't get their money back because the government wanted to earn interest on it and make people fight to get and apply to get their own money back. When you look at sports betting, and you look at DraftKings and FanDuel, what happened last year? New York went and said, DraftKings is illegal. What? It's on the New York Jets sign. Like, it's running on NBC 24 hours a day. They're spending $4 million a day in commercials. What are you talking about? It's illegal all of a sudden. Online poker was around for 8 years before they decided to say it's illegal. And then when you read the fine print, they didn't even say online poker was illegal. So for me, I'm a bit jaded because I've watched online poker, sports betting, DraftKings, and then here's another one. Have you ever tried to fly to Canada? Vancouver is the toughest border I've ever been to in the world. It seems like such a high-end city would be easy to get to. It takes me over 2 hours to 3 hours to get through security there because they're so strict. And what happened last week? Cannabis is legal. For the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years of our lives, people looked at a little plant like it was the devil incarnate. And tens of billions, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars went to incarcerating these people. Sorry, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Like, these things are happening in multiple different spaces, and in cryptocurrency, there's a huge frustration because they just can't stop it. They can't stop Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is all of us. And all of us is still this much compared to the free world. And I just truly believe over the long term, besides the fundamentals, besides what all the other coins can do, Bitcoin itself is going to continue to rise over the course of time. Listen, I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin to make money tomorrow or the next day. Only Ty knows that stuff. I'm talking about over the course of time, there's really only one way for it to go up because, as Randall mentioned, if it crashed down to $1,000, I can't see it crash to $1,000 because I'll buy it all. Like, and so all my friends.
At 3, at 5, I'll buy it all.
I have too many friends that'll just pick it up.
And they're not sitting on order books anywhere. I know a lot of people with just that you can't see how much they would buy at that time.
Right,
if you
and
see it drop to 5, I have family offices, funds who will move everything they can, and that's not on an order book somewhere on Bittrex that you can look at.
And over the course of time, the other big thing happens, which is really going to have to happen in 2019, is a lot more regulation is happening, and people can't be scared of it or mad at it because it's against crypto as a theory. It's going to happen, and at that point, then you have the real players come in. Then you have the real hedge fund managers come in, the real family offices come in. when you start seeing the guys in Dubai and Asia and India come in, they don't buy something unless it's billions of dollars. Well, what happens if somebody wants to buy $2 billion worth of Bitcoin? It's not going to be some email you get from the 19-year-old kid that says he knows the guy that's going to buy it off exchange. This doesn't happen. That's not real life. What happens is they have to actually buy Bitcoin from a lot of humans. And over the course of time, I think that us as humans win just by being involved in the space early.
I want to touch on that really quick, which is a real quick little history lesson. So, what I love about history is it proves we're all crazy. And what do I mean by that? Who here has been in a relationship with someone, they broke it off, and years later it seemed like comfortable to be like, hey, let's talk again. Let's try this out again. And they forgot completely what caused them to leave in the first place. So people forget easy. Also, what happened in market cycles? Let's take the real estate market. Remember that? Remember 08? Remember the government saying no one's going to buy a house ever again? It's all rental. Homeowners are idiots. I just purchased a home in Los Angeles that was 40% more than the highest point in 2008. What happened to the marijuana arena? I was actually in it in the very beginning. The government came in, they stuck it in everybody, and everybody's like, it's over. Well, what happened there? Would you have been more profitable by getting in early and taking it responsibly and understanding the amount that you put in and riding through that wave? Would you be better off now? I mean, of course. How about the tech world? We were just watching a video that made me laugh. 1994 ABC. Who's here seen that interview, the 1994 ABC, when they're talking about the intranet? Is it at? Is it ampersand? Like, what is it? The guy's like, well, where does the mail go? I don't get it. Is it like over there, or is it? Human beings are insane. Remember, back in the day, we gave our kids like uranium and stuff in science kits. In England, we had places where we put other ethnicities on museums to show people what Darwinism was. This world is a mixed bag at best. We're all idiots trying to find out the right way. I want people to realize, because what happens is mass media moves people because mass media wants you to be the cogs in your own wheel so they can run right past you. Who here sold out of real estate and said it was done when real estate went to shit? No one. Damn, this is an educated room. I got killed. My point is if you're in this space early, you have to have a thesis. And what's your thesis? Invest only what you can afford if you're an investor. Trade with tactics and skill if you're a trader. If you're neither of them, get out of here. Because those are the only people that should be around right now. People with the wherewithal and the personal understanding that this is going to be tumultuous. And you should be only investing what you can. I see so many people get so excited to wake up in the morning to look at their charts or their wallets. Do you know how fundamentally flawed that is? It's supposed to be boring. What you do with it is the fun. Making money is a tough, cumbersome objective. The fun is what you get to do with all that hard work. So I want people to take from this that they understand how much you invest. If you've got $10,000 that you want to invest totally, don't put it all in crypto. Be educated. If you have so much money in right now that you're like this, checking the price, you've got too much money into it. I want you to realize that what you're doing here is putting your foot down and in the race. I didn't tell you to run yet. Do you think Olympic athletes go, I want to be in the Olympics, and they just go do it? They train for years and years to perform in a very finite amount of time. The best business minds in the world, what do? They hone their craft and then they shoot something out to the masses, and everybody thinks they're some amazing human being, but all they did was hone their craft in. So many people talk to me about, I put $10,000 into crypto, what do I do? Well, take $10,000 out. Educate yourself. No one wants to spend money anymore. Everybody just wants to make it. Do you understand that that is going to leave all of you to your demise with that logic? Because you're going to be fighting against people who literally spend their entire days learning this industry. I pray for that. Do you not think Tom Brady prays for a shitty fucking safety or cornerback to be guarding Gronk or one of the guys? Absolutely, because he's going to run train on him. It's the same thing in every single world. Why can I make relatable acquisitions in each one of these different verticals? Because it's all the same. Find out what you're good at. Be self-aware. I'm good at X. Stay focused on it. Who gives a shit about everything else except for X? And educate yourself to be the best person. Never be the jack of all trades. Whoever said that in the beginning, please someone point me to him because I want to beat the living shit out of him. And I'm a little guy and I still want to. Be really, really amazing at one thing. My business partner and I have made a majority of our net worth from one thing. Facebook. We bought more Facebook ads than pretty much most people. We realized that we could learn Google, we could learn display, we could learn all of these things, but if we got really good at Facebook, oh my God, we'd kill it. We're so good that we can basically make any ICO crush. Do we? Nope. Why? Because we can write a narrative. We're the best at that. So please get focused. Some of you guys are traders, some of you are investors, some of y'all just want to understand what's going on in this space. But remember that is your thesis, not someone else's. Stick to what you know and what you want to accomplish, and everything else is noise.
So one thing, and just, a little bit of, here, sign me up for 2 scoops of that. One thing, I would do with $10,000, if you have, it sounds really silly, but forced discipline is helpful. Remember these 2 words, time capsule. If you got $10,000 and you can do your own allocation depending on you want to do Bitcoin, a couple alts, how you want to play it, move it all to a Trezor or a Ledger, put it in a coffee can and bury it in your backyard and dig it up in 5 years. I guarantee you that'll make you money. Too many people rush. They have get your stuff off exchanges too. I have so much forced discipline in the way I invest. Like literally my larger positions are not online. They are absolutely offline, and I don't have physical access to them. You cannot kidnap me and get access to them. I'm not gonna tell you how I don't have physical access to them or what I've done to kind of protect myself in terms of security, but you gotta get smart on what you do. But I actually have a bunch of different accounts. I have a bunch of different positions. So like my long-term positions, I don't even log into. I haven't logged into them for years. I send money to them, and that's it. And then I'll move them onto, off of an exchange and onto, a Trezor or a Ledger, depending on what the cryptocurrency is itself. But I just have a kind of a workflow. I don't check price. I just buy at a set rate, just like I would a 401k. And then just because I am, everyone that's in this space at this level is a little bit of a gambler, and I still like to learn from Ty and Chase and some of my friends. And so I'll have a position that I'll play with. That's my cheat meal. That's the stuff that I have fun with, and I'll leave some of that on exchange, and I'll raise my hand and be the first to tell you, guess what? I got hacked. I had one. Luckily, I had one exchange siloed, and so they only got access to one small portion of what I was doing, and I made a simple mistake. You think 2-factor authentication on an exchange is going to save you? No, it will not. You have 2-factor authentication or more on your email and on your phone. That's the vulnerable point. Your exchanges is not the vulnerable point.
Wait a second, I don't want to cut you off. Hey,
but
little man leaving really quick. Dad, wait, I want them to come back. Come down to our booth. I got $200 in Bitcoin for the little man. I want to get him started in the game. So come down to our booth downstairs, Watcher's Tent. I got some money for you, my man. I want to see you jump. And I'm sorry for cutting him off. And he lied. Do you think he has a cheat meal? Look at the size of this guy. I'm his cheat meal.
Every time I come hang out with the Watchers, we got such good food at our events. I have to cheat a little bit. But no, so think about that. Think about your, getting outside your own, kind of predilections. You're going to have that moment where you're like, so I hear about people talk about their positions, like, should I sell this position or not, or sell my bag? And I don't understand what they're talking about in terms of just one position. I have probably at this point 30, 40, 50 different positions in Ripple or Stellar. And each one of them I view, they have their own kind of performance objectives. They have their own kind of investment thesis that I personally have. I have stuff that I'm accumulating. I'll never touch it no matter what. I have stuff that I kind of have more of a near-term strategy around. And I have stuff that has more of just a random FUD or news, or I'll just kind of, that's the stuff that I'll be willing to trade. But I don't trade the whole position in and out based on different market events. And I actually, just to be disciplined, have those tied to different accounts on different exchanges. If I've left it on an exchange, the long-term stuff I don't have on an exchange anyways. But I probably have 15 different, probably 20 different exchange accounts tied to different emails with different passwords, with different recovery emails. And so think about how you can create, and you can find your own way to do this. But again, it might be as simple as a time capsule. Buy 10 Bitcoin, throw it in a coffee cup and bury it and just forget about it for 5 years. No matter what, mark it up, mark it down, you literally will not do it. Hell, get a safety deposit box. I think you can actually sign a contract to have them not even give you access to it for a certain amount of time, like, almost like a trust fund baby. Something like that to actually force you to be disciplined around not just following the hype or the FOMO or the fear will absolutely help you out while you learn. And then, take a little bit, take a Bitcoin. I think, again, Wozniak said he had 1 Bitcoin to learn with. He's bullshitting, but you want to basically play the game so that you make small mistakes now, so you don't make large mistakes later. And I think that'll really tee you up for the real game's going to start in probably 3-4 years. And like Dan said, when the institutional money starts playing, you have an opportunity to really redefine your entire life because you got in so early.
Really quickly, how are we looking over there for the computer? We get it working? Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to really close out with just one last thing. And you guys, at the end of the day, please understand that showing up is key. You're 10 times better off than anybody else when follow through. I'm going to make one last little analogy because I like my little analogies. Somehow they relate to people and they get it. If Randall and I go crash on my theater and he falls asleep and I stay awake, if I make one step every 10 minutes, just one step, one foot in front of the other, little baby moves. By the time he wakes up, he'll have no idea where I'm at. I'll be so far ahead of him and so out of his view, he'll be like, I have just lost. Show up. Understand that you're infants, and just like every other child, when you start out in something, why do you think laws aren't strict on children? Because they make mistakes. They screw up. They're learning, hey, don't touch that snake, it'll bite the shit out of you. You learn that. You have to understand that. So please, immerse yourself in the shit, because that's when you come out better. Anybody can ride an easy roller coaster. It's the people who find the precipice and use it as a trampoline to jump so far in the sphere, no one ever sees them. Find your passion. My personal passion was my old parole officer told me that I was the biggest piece of shit and he'd see me back in 2 years. That's my passion. I told him that I made a mistake as a child and I realized the mistake I made and I'd prove the world what my thesis was. Use us as catalysts to push yourself further and realize that no matter what walk of life you come from, focus and showing up every day, even when you're sick and it sucks and it's not cool, will put you so much farther than everyone else. Thank you guys so much for coming out, putting your time in. I'll answer some questions too when we're sitting down, but thank you guys so much. Any questions you have, I'll jump in the back. We'll be in the back. Ty's going to get in so we don't hold up.
And don't leave. So I don't know if y'all been looking at the schedule, but the 2 sessions that are going to come up next, I mean, what Ty's going to talk about with technical analysis, and I think after that, Dan, you're going to kind of give a little bit of crypto 101, I believe. And then I go.
I'm going to have Randall up with me too, because we just vibe if you can't tell.
Absolutely. I mean, we there's so much. I think we get a little informal and we get a little grandiose and we kind of talk a lot about a lot of things because we really truly have a lot of passion for this. But some of the nuggets that Ty will give you, pay attention. It's made me money. It'll make you money. It's a lot more curriculum and academic and very specific. Do this. Don't do this. Look for this. Look. So if I were you, if you were thinking about, okay, I'm going to go check something else out now, here's actually where you can make some significant money or avoid some significant losses today, starting now. So I would really encourage you to stick around.
Everybody likes the party, no one likes the line. You got to get that line to get them bottles. So let's stick together and do this to the end. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.